Welcome to The World Meets in Wood Buffalo on Shore TV. Today we're going to talk about the topic fall and winter festivals in different countries, and we have Kwame representing West Africa, Ivory Coast. I'm Mary Thomas representing India, and we have Caitlin Downey from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Could you talk about what happens in the Ivory Coast during fall and winter?
Well, thank you so much, Mary. I would like to, just let you know that in West Africa, we only have 2 seasons, and unfortunately, we don't have winter there now yet. But back home, what we have, we know that Ivory Coast has been a country where we have a lot of folks from, around those countries after the borders, because it looks like Ivorian are a melting pot. So that means it looks like Canada. So that's why, we got folks right here that are not, they are really involved in the community, because back home it's the same life. So definitely in Ivory Coast, what we do have, we have several festivals right there. I can talk about 2 major festivals we do have there. We have a mask festival, and we do have a yams festival as well.
So you mean like a mask, making a mask?
Definitely. And those kind of festival, it's depend of where those tribes came from. So especially for those who have those mass festival, they are warrior, but they're from those countries where there's a lot of war, and they believe in their tribe. That's why they have those traditional things to protect them. So that's why the masks look like, certain things that they can use to protect themselves. So each year they used to, have those festivals to celebrate their power. So that's why they have them back home.
And what about the Yam Festival?
Well, what we can say for the Yam Festival particularly, people, it's for people living in the south of Ivory Coast, because most of them, they are refugees. They're coming from Ghana, and they run away from the war. That's why they came in Ivory Coast, and they found the yam. So that helped them to survive. So they feed themselves by eating yams. So that's why every year at the same period they celebrate yams, and they call the Yams Festival.
Oh, very interesting. Something like the Harvest Festivals.
Definitely, yeah.
Very interesting. And so, like most of the time, we get people from all countries to talk about different festivals from outside Canada. So really, it was so exciting for me when I came to Canada to know about the festivals that are celebrated here, some of them which never celebrated in India. So I have with me Caitlin, who's going to talk about fall and winter festivals here in Canada.
Yeah, well, we do have a harvest festival that's Thanksgiving here, and so that's celebrated on the second Monday of October, and it's a harvest festival, and it really celebrates family and just getting together and eating great food and being with family. And so I guess historically it would have been a celebration that the settlers were eating with First Nations when they first came here.
Wow.
And it's kind of evolved since then, and now it's really much more about sharing food with family. But it's definitely one of the major festivals that I love celebrating as well.
Yeah, she told me that. What's with the turkey?
I'm not sure of the historical origin of the turkey, but yeah, turkey and corn and wheat, pumpkins, squash, things like that are really celebrated this time of year. Yeah.
What about the Keith Festival? How do you guys celebrate that?
I'm from Nova Scotia, and one of the main festivals for students, anyways, is Alexander Keith's birthday, which is on October 5th. And so on October 5th, a lot of the students will take the day off and go and celebrate one of the Keith's breweries in town in Halifax. So that's something that's maybe unique to Nova Scotia, but certainly something that's a lot of fun.
It is.
How did Halloween come to be a big festival? Is it?
Halloween is interesting because it's kind of a conglomeration of a couple different religions. So it's evolved over the years, but it currently, I guess it's Celtic festival mixed with a Christian festival, but it's also celebrated by the secular population in Canada.
Thank you so much for speaking about all these amazing things. We'll continue after the short break that we're going on right now. So we're going to take a short break for the World Meets in Wood Buffalo. Come back again after the break. Welcome back to the World Meets in Wood Buffalo, and we were talking about this amazing festival, the Halloween. And Caitlin was talking to us about how it started here in Canada.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. So it actually started as a Celtic festival, Samhain, which then became incorporated into Christianity as All Saints' Day. And so from there, it's kind of evolved into a secular holiday in Canada. But I'm sure you have a lot more to say about it being a Christian holiday.
Yeah, just being a Christian, when I came here, I was very surprised by how the Day of the Dead is celebrated in such a kind of weird way, where people actually put tombstones in front of their houses and do weird stuff like with spider webs, and I was like creeped out by all this stuff. And I couldn't understand what kind of a celebration this was. People would turn off the lights if they didn't want kids come and take candy from their homes, and I couldn't understand, why would I send my kids to other people's house begging for candy? And so it didn't make any sense to me in the beginning. But then as I saw that, how exciting it can be for kids to dress up and go around and really enjoy, even though it was starting up the cold, it was a really difficult time for kids to get out, but really it was nice for them. So they thoroughly enjoy this festival. What
I should say, it's especially how much I start to spend on my children to have those costumes and those kind of things. And I do remember that when we were trying to celebrate our first Halloween right here, and my children came home and they said, Dad, next week we're going to have Halloween. And my wife said, we don't celebrate that one. We are Christian. We don't know that. And I say, well, we are Canadians, so we have to celebrate that one because everybody celebrates that one here. So we had to do that. So we went to a store, buy stuff, and yeah, the budget was quite high, but I have to do that. But the first time was really, looked like a barrier between, the two cultural things, because we're not allowed before to do that back home, because it's particularly so important for us not to celebrate the death. But right here, as Canadian, we have to be part of a community, so we start to celebrate that one.
Yeah, it's interesting, the dressing up aspect of it. I believe historically it was kind of trying to fool the ghosts and the dead into thinking that you weren't human. So that's kind of an interesting aspect to it too, that ties in maybe with the masks and with concealing identities. So it's interesting.
Yeah, actually for our kids, it's really a day when they can get all the candy they want for the whole year. So it's really fun for them. I also wanted to talk about some of the things that happen in India. Like, India is predominantly a Hindu country, and you have people from other religions as well, like Muslims, the Christians, the Jains, the Sikhs, the Baha'i, and the Zoroastrian people. So we have just so many people, and there's just so many different types of festivals in India. But I'm going to just talk about a few. From north to south, there are just so many. I mean, thousands of festivals that people celebrate. And in one province, people celebrate 2,000 festivals in a year. So I can't really talk about all the festivals celebrated throughout India. So I'm going to talk about some. One of the popular fall, winter festival is celebrated in Punjab. It's called Lohri. And Lohri is something where it's like the beginning of the financial year for people who are engaged in business, and it's also celebrated as a time when the girls who have gone to their husbands' homes get gifts from their moms and dads, and so that's a beautiful time for those girls, the brides. This festival is very much a northern festival. Pongal is another festival that's celebrated. It's celebrated in South India, and it is especially to the Tamil people from Madras and the whole of Tamil Nadu. And generally it's a festival where you have a certain kind of dish that is prepared as a celebratory thing, and it's called Pongal. The dish is also called Pongal. Makar Sankranti is another thing that happens throughout the northern part of India, and the southern part is celebrated in a different way. So it's a festival where people actually fly kites. It's called the Kite Festival, and it's really exciting because when you look up at the sky, you can see all these different multicolored kites, and people are actually competing with each other on who will break down or bring down the maximum number of kites. So it's really fun. It's a really competitive festival, and it's mostly celebrated in western part of India more than any other. Vasant Panchami is a festival that is dedicated to the goddess Saraswati, which is the goddess of wisdom and learning. And it's celebrated on the 5th day of Magh, which is somewhere between January and February. There's also full moon days are celebrated with great gusto in India. So there is a Magh Purnima, which is celebrated generally in Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh. And we also have Mahashivratri, which is considered to be the big night of Shiva, the Lord Shiva. And it's a day when many of the women and men get really drunk. And it's so funny because it's considered to be a worship theme also. Then Diwali. Diwali is the festival of lights, which is celebrated from north to south of India, and there is no bar between people who burst firecrackers. There's no Hindu, no Muslim, no nothing. Everybody comes together, celebrates the festival. People take sweets to each other's houses. So it's a very beautiful festival, and it's celebrated throughout the country.
Yeah, no, it's true. I want to highlight something on what you said. In our country, all those festivals, when they happen, all the community came together. They came together and they share food and they learn the traditional things together. You can have a difference between Muslim and Christian. So that one is unique, and I think that the mentality of those people has been changed, and that's why Ivory Coast has been one of the places where,
there's harmony.
Yeah, there's harmony, and it's a peaceful country as well.
That's really cool. Now that we've spoken about all the festivals that we celebrate in 3 different places around the world, we will say goodbye to our audiences. Thank you very much for joining us on our show, and thank you to Caitlin, Kwame for joining us today, and do come again next month to see another show, The World Meets in Wood Buffalo.